Cesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us. Hey girl, had a long day, you tired from work. Throw me some dollars and I remove my shirt. You can touch me too, these are the perks. Free yourself, lose your mind and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk.
Make way for the bad guy.
What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Crowd Pleaser, the podcast that brings you the inside scoop on what it takes to be a male entertainer in today's age. And today, myself and my two guest hosts will be discussing time management. Stripping is a lifestyle, not necessarily just a career, so it influences and impacts all portions of your life, mainly the hours in the day that you use. So today we're going to be discussing of what the three of us do to kind of manage it and make the most out of our time. So let me bring on the guests. Obviously, I am Cesar the Crowd Pleaser, your host of the show week after week. But with me, I have one of my returning co-hosts that's been a fan favorite. I got Tre Vaughn. How you doing, Tre?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, brother?
Doing fantastic, man. Fantastic. Glad to have you on the show again. Mandingo Jones is going to be our third voice on this podcast. He's been on it before, once again with great feedback, so we brought him back on. How you doing, Mandingo?
Never been better. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Pretty well.
I'm so glad that you invited me back. I had a lot of fun last time, and we really covered some very necessary topics when it comes to delving into our world. You know.
Very true. Very true. And you're very articulate and detailed in your manner. So why not have you back on? So real quick, just to get in a little bit of housekeeping, I want to say thank you to all our patrons out there. Thanks to you guys. It's what keeps the show going. This show will always be free, but if you want to give something back, you know, it kind of helps you out during the day, entertains you on your drive to work, or lets you know a little something about an industry you were curious about, then it's definitely appreciated. I handle various projects outside of this that funding for that stuff definitely helps out. You can log on to the Patreon, and there's various reward tiers that you can sign up for. There's no commitment. You can leave whenever you want. And you get all kinds of neat things. You get to see practice videos of my aerialist hobbyist. You get to also see choreography from my new upcoming acts, including my birthday act, and behind-the-scenes footage from the reality show that we'll talk about later, and all kinds of other great perks. So definitely check it out. Again, that's patreon.com/crowdpleaser. Want to take a moment to give a special thank you and shout out to HollyStar1011 and Roxy Blue. These two fans went ahead and gave me positive ratings on iTunes, so I really appreciate those ratings, and adding those stars help make this show better and also get pushed out to other people. So show it to your friends. I believe episode 8 is the one where I did club etiquette, LeBaire and Hard Bodies 101 with Caden, our DJ. Definitely check it out. Pass it on to any first timers that are coming to either of our respective clubs, because it would be very useful for them to kind of know everything that goes on right away. Last, I want to go ahead and talk about our home stations. My two guests, both Tre and Mandingo, dance at Hard Bodies San Antonio. All right, they are the top ladies entertainment venue down south. So Tre, go ahead and give us your hours of operation, brother.
Our hours of operation are Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday we open at 9. Every other night we open up at 8:30. And on Sundays we also open up at 9 as well. On Wednesdays we close at midnight, and on Sundays we close at midnight, but the rest of the week we stay open until 2 a.m.
Sweet. And Mandingo, you guys do private parties, correct? Strippergrams?
Yes, we do. 210-69 strip. 210-69 strip.
I'm glad he knew that, because I actually did not remember the phone number.
So I mean,
so easy, man.
How do you not?
Well, there you go. So once again, you got the hours for them. LeBaire Dallas is open at 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Wednesday through Sunday. And we also do strippergrams, private parties, same day service. You can catch any themes you want: doctor, police officer, firefighter, cowboy. Check that out. and we do stuff during the day. I've done some at business hour, lunch hours, and all kinds of stuff, or any kind of parties during the evening. So sweet.
If a woman wanted to, would they be able to get you to come out to their house dressed as your barbarian?
Yes, they could.
Oh, there you go, ladies.
There it
Ladies.
is.
There it is.
Also,
That's an extra twist.
Also, ladies, don't be shy from trying to book parties on social media. You can get in contact with us on social media as well, if need be.
Yes.
Very true. Pretty much contact any entertainer, let them know that you want a private party, and they will make it happen for you. So yeah, good job, Trey. Way to sell that Conan, dude. But probably would be a little more popular doing Drogo.
Ooh. Either way, ladies. Either way, just remember that's an extra twist you get when you book Cesar. You're not gonna get that with the Jason. You're not gonna get that with the Jax.
Whoa. Let's keep it positive here, man.
Oh, I forget. I'm the negative Nancy.
All right, so let's dive right into our topic before Trey incriminates himself any further. Time management. Oh God, thank God this is on audio. All right, so time management. Let's start off with something simple, gentlemen. Let's go ahead and kind of dip into a little bit of your personal time, if you don't mind, and break down for us what all on a weekly basis takes up your day-to-day time. So, Mandingo, how does your typical day look like?
Hey, I wake up. First thing I do before I honestly, this has been driven into me by listening to advice from people who are very heavy on marketing and marketing themselves, their businesses, and other people's businesses. Social media is one of the first things that I am on as soon as I get up. As soon as I get up, I don't even get out of my bed first. I grab my device and I go straight to whatever social media. I try to have whatever I'm going to post on social media ready the night before so that I can post it and it sounds a little funny, but if you can spend a lot of time on social media actually marketing when you want to get in and you can get out, but you want to market yourself properly. So I spend a little bit of time before I go to bed thinking about what I want to put on social media, how I want to edit it, and what would be the best hashtags and the best attention drawing phrases or whatever I could say to post underneath it. That's the first thing that I do. After probably anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour of that, I'll get up, I'll start making food, and I'll probably do something like listen to audiobooks while I'm making food, something like that. Or also outside of my actual dance career, listen to or work on music while I'm making food, like maybe singing a tune or listening to an instrumental I might have started playing, or I'm learning guitar now, maybe listening to something about guitar techniques, something like that. From that, depending on what day it is, I'm going to go from eating to maybe doing a couple things around the house that might need to be done, whether like take out the trash, go outside, work in the garden, go get something for my car, whatever it might be, run errands. Then depending on what day it is, the gym. My off days from work being Monday and Tuesday, much like y'all's, I believe, right? Monday and Tuesday?
Yes, correct.
For y'all and us, we have that Monday and Tuesday off. So those are the days I try to make the most time for the gym. Typically, the evening time is when I'll go to the gym. Now, I do sleep a little bit later into the day sometimes because I am up typically anywhere till 4 or possibly 8 a.m. So even on my off days. So I'm working on something else. I like to take the time to get things done. So after the gym, I'll come home, cook again, and go right back to working on music. Maybe watch something a little entertaining. I want to stay, in touch with people. You can't just work all day. You got to stay in touch with what's going on, or your art means nothing to them because they can't connect. So I'll try to take that into consideration. And then sometimes I brainstorm with other people on things. Like sometimes I know this is a lot of people typically know us as working separately, but Juice and I sometimes will get together and brainstorm a few things. Trey and I will sometimes get together and brainstorm a few things.
Nope, no, we don't. I hate them.
Whether it be get some choreography ready, whether it be on Amazon looking for something I might need, whether it be looking at some lights or something for the stage, like working on lyrics. After eating, I'm pretty much open to pretty much anything when it comes to like working. And then after that, I like to kind of treat myself a little bit to either a little bit of video game time, very little. It's typically not that anymore. Typically, it's like an episode of something funny or something like that. And then I brainstorm right before I go to bed what's going to go on social media the next day. And then I go to sleep and then I start it over. That's pretty much what my day looks like.
Gotcha.
Some days. Go ahead.
No, it's actually quite interesting to see how or hear that how much we overlap in certain smaller intricacies, as well as how we differ. Because, for example, for me, I agree with you. Social media, same thing. It's the way of the future. Social media is how we market and advertise ourselves, build that brand, like many people have heard before. I don't necessarily do it first thing out of bed sometimes. Sometimes I do if I'm not quite ready to get out of bed. I'll go ahead and get on there. But I do try to plan when I post because of that, i.e. in the morning time while people are getting ready to go to work, or during their lunch break, or in the evenings when people are getting off work. So that's something that does take a little bit of time, like you said, responding to your fans as well. Gym time. I know you don't have this issue, but I myself, being Hispanic, like to look it somewhat. So tanning is a thing. I have various side projects that I have to do as well. That includes, 3D printing design and my cosplay creations and manufacturing. Sometimes tracking down resources, like you mentioned, lights and props for new acts, both inside and outside the club.
That's it. Yeah.
Creating new shows, creating new set mixes, researching music.
How much time do you spend calling around different places trying to be like, hey, do you have this? Do you spend time calling around it, like for props and stuff? That's one that a lot of people don't realize stresses us out. We're like trying to get something.
So this is when the social dynamics and ecosystem that I have in my support structure really comes into play. That is actually one of the things I delegate quite a bit to my fan base, because some people have office jobs, other people are better at researching things than I am. So if I find, like, for example, let's say I need to come up with Khal Drogo, correct? When I was doing my Khal Drogo act, I had to find out how to get pants that look leathery and that get turned into tearaways. So instead of me having to call a bunch of people, I put that on one of my friends that wanted to help. They're like, hey, can I help? I'm like, look, this is what I need from you. Swords was another thing. So obviously they use a scimitar. So, well, that was something else I delegated to one of my friends that enjoys makeup artistry and things like that. So she's into props. And so that kind of helps manage, streamlines the effect, where instead of me taking the time to, like you said, look online, look on Amazon, look at different websites, then also call various local stores to get stuff, and each one taking its own 15, 20-minute time period, I'm getting answers back from people within 30 minutes that would have probably taken me 2 hours by myself. But music, I spend time following music. I'll get on YouTube and just click on the newest songs and like what links. Hey, you might like this, to find the best new music that people are playing. Looking at top charts. I've recently began circus aerial training and stuff like that, working stuff with aerial silks and aerial rope. So rehearsals and practice time for that has been an issue, not as well as research, sitting there on Instagram looking at what other people are doing to see future moves. There's social meetings, obviously meeting with our fan base and friends and stuff like that, both to discuss what's going on in their lives, because at the end, it's a mutual support structure. We support other people as much as they support us. Promoting, sometimes we meet. I know you guys do it. You guys will meet at a venue simply to promote the club. Hey, what's up? We're the guys from LeBaire. Come check us out. So that takes up some time that is not during work hours, but very much is work. Obviously,
public appearance.
Yep.
I forgot to mention.
Work in and of itself takes up a decent amount of time. Sometimes you show up early, sometimes you leave late, and thus that will eat up a good portion of your day as well. Versus, I feel like, I'm not taking anything away from them, but a lot of office people sometimes, they clock in at a specific time, they clock out at a specific time, that's done deal. And because I'm getting up there in age, and health is a very important thing, both mental and physically, and it crosses over to my aerials and dancing. I've devoted some more time every day to stretching as well, which you and I were talking about before the show. can prove to be A, time consuming, B, a millimeter progress at a time, and C, sometimes quite painful. And lastly, the self-care thing, mental health. I have a couple of hobbies that I do that allow me to escape from the rigorousness of every day. I have a laundry list of things to do and I have to accomplish it. So all those things can periodically be sprinkled across my day to day throughout the week that I have to manage. Trey, what do you got? What's all the stuff that occupies your time weekly?
I mean, I got like school, I got class that takes up a big chunk of my time. Other than that, like I'll do like meal prepping that takes a good amount of time out of the day. Gym is definitely usually like it's an everyday thing. I'm there every day. Usually I only spend an hour to an hour and a half, but at the same time, it's more. I feel like more prepping for the gym takes up time to me because I got to get my mind right. One, two. I'm always very. I do like a pre-workout meal, and I do things like that. Cleaning up, clean up my house, man, because my house is always a mess. I got a husky that tears up everything. So I take him out to play. That's another time thing. I'm very outdoorsy, so I like to do outdoorsy things. I'll go and do stuff like that. Man, I'm just trying to think of everything. But mostly school is the largest part of it, and studying for school and things of that nature. Always hectic. Always seems like I have a test or something around the corner.
Yeah, it's a second full-time job. You spend probably just as much time in school between studying and research and your assignments as well as being in class as you do being on the job.
I admit I need to be a little bit better about being on social media. I'm not really on it that much, and I'm trying to get better. Trying to get better. I'm not the best at it, but
It's not as easy as it sounds.
no, I get so unfocused on it. I'll be like reading a message, and I'll be like, let me go do this real quick, and then I'll be like, oh, I forgot to answer this message. So definitely got to get better about that. I try to keep in touch with friends and stuff like that. People, that's why I try to drop a line to my boy Cesar at least once a week because I know he's busy like me, so it's hard for us to get to talking. This ugly dude, I see him almost every day, so it's easy to talk to him. But
It's actually ironic that you say that because I am currently reading a book that talks about it's essentially a self-help book. It talks about different ways to reach your goals, and one of the things that they talk about is do a little bit of progress every day, which you guys have heard me say before. Progress is progress, doesn't matter how big or how small. But one of the points the book tries to make is it's not so much that these these tasks are very easy to do. It's the fact that they are equally easy not to do. So making that conscious effort and the time and the devotion to do something that involves 15 minutes a day will take you 15 minutes closer to your goal versus you can easily be like, it's 15 minutes, I can skip it today. And just that slight win versus loss mentality there can make a huge difference in how soon you reach your outcome. So with that, I want to know, so Trey, how do you value or view the needs that you need to accomplish versus the wants you need to accomplish? I.e., you have to study because you have an exam coming up versus like maybe like, hey, you're a little bored at work, you want to come up with a new act. So how do you view those differently? Like what's kind of like your mindset on that?
man, my mindset on that is whatever needs to be done first is usually the thing that's is usually what I'm looking at to doing first. Like say if I have a test on Thursday, but I need to start working on a new act that needs to be done by the next month, then I will definitely focus on the test first. I'll study. I'll find ways to study while still working on the act. Like I might like if I don't have a song yet for the act, I might listen to music while I'm doing my homework or while studying. And as soon as a song comes on that triggers me, and it's like, okay, this will fit perfectly in the act. Then I'll work on the act for about 10 minutes, sometimes 30, and then I'll go back to studying. Things of that nature. I always try, like I said, I cut my gym time down. I used to go to the gym, especially when I was doing more powerlifting movements. I would go to the gym for like 2 hours, sometimes 3, depending on what day it was. But now I'm going back to kind of more of physique training, hypertrophy, and all that. So I go only for an hour and a half. I use that time as my like de-stressing time. So I always have that every day, at least almost every day. I missed today, but that's because I'm setting up for something tomorrow. But yeah, but mostly I try to gear for what is due first. Like, say like your birthday is 2 weeks from now, right? All right,
Yes,
2 weeks.
correct.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So I'm coming down for that. So right now I'm trying to make sure I have all my homework done. If there's anything due around that time, I'm gonna try to work on it now, so it'll be ready for that weekend. I'm getting all my stuff ready for your birthday, whether it's an act, which I'll probably have to do a solo because I'm going down by myself. So I'll have all those costumes ready and stuff and ready to go out.
Well, if I
Uh,
told you, man, if you need the help, just send me the choreography via YouTube, and I'll have it ready
yeah.
by the time you come down.
Oh, I know, but it's your birthday. You just need to be going out there and having fun. You don't need to be worrying about little old me. But
God.
Little, I
but
thought you just finished doing some kind of powerlifting and stuff. Haven't you gained weight?
He's
I,
bouncing
I, I
his
have gained weight.
he's bouncing his chest on my couch
But no,
as we speak.
I have gained weight, but like I said, I'm about to start toning up again. No, it's been a minute since. No, yeah, I did a powerlifting meetup beginning of this month, but yeah, uh, yeah. So things like that, I just
You
try to
realize the
focus
beginning of this
on what.
month was like 4 days ago, right? How'd you forget that already?
You know what, Cesar? Don't start with me. Don't start with me. Don't.
I mean, if the gym is your zen time, like I can imagine you listening to some like John Lennon or what legend as you're
No,
like just zoning out. But I mean, damn.
no,
I could not work out as John Legend.
I cannot.
I have to be like riding the bike to do that.
Stairs for me. The stairmaster.
Yeah, you really
Yeah.
do the stairmaster.
Hey. Hey.
But anyways, we digress. So you were saying you focus on the
I
short
focus
term
on
or
the
sooner
short.
deadlines.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's something like big coming up, big, then I might like throw at least an hour to that each day, but
Hmm.
most try to focus on the here and now, uh, just because I don't know. I hate to say it, I've always been a little bit of a procrastinator. So a lot of times stuff will slip up on me or sneak up on me. So I've tried.
No.
Yeah, I'm the worst about
We've
it.
been friends for how long? And I had no idea.
Oh, shut up. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Caesar's sarcasm. Brightest part of my day.
No, see, I understand where you're coming from because I find
Yeah,
myself doing something very similar. The I tend to put probably about a 60-40 priority rate when it comes to things that I need to accomplish versus things that I want to accomplish. And
right.
I break it down that way because I feel like if you do too many things that you need to do point blank, that it will start to take a toll on you. You feel less sense of accomplishment. Like, yes, you got something done, but it becomes more of a chore than anything else versus when
Yeah,
I kind of sprinkle in, okay, I'm going to do these two things that I have to do for being an adult, but then I'm also going to try to work on this thing that is a fun project for me. It kind of breaks up the monotony of it. And as long
right.
as I do keep that timetable like you do, i.e., what needs to get done right away, what can I give it a little time for, and you kind of space it out. And even then, just break it down. Like, let's say, for example, there's a cosplay thing I want to do. I can be like, okay, I'm going to knock out my birthday act this week, but on Sunday, I'm going to go ahead and work maybe on the gloves or the boots or something. And that way, it kind of gives me a break, much like you said when you're studying and things like that. So
Yeah,
you maximize your time without letting something just drag on because once you get bored, then you're going to be less productive and it's going to eat up too much time. Does that
yeah.
sound like anything you kind of play around with, Mandingo?
um, I'm a little weird because
Little weird.
I'm a lot of weird
There you
because,
go.
well, how do I put this? Have you ever had situations where you felt like you needed to do something, but in all actuality, it's not what you needed at the time, but you might have put such a priority on it because you just really wanted to do it so bad? You ever done that?
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, shoot, the reality show, this podcast, you name it. I've been across that very time many times.
And then you do it, and you're like, well, I could have done something else. I needed to do more when this is actually. See, my biggest issue Now I know as I spoke earlier about my schedule, it takes a lot for me to actually do it in an organized fashion. The easiest thing for me to do is the first thing every time, and that's the social media thing. After that, I'm actually tackling a lot of these things pretty much different times almost every day, except for the gym. The gym is usually pretty constant. So it's usually the gym in the evening, and it's to social media early, as soon as I, not even early, as soon as I wake up. You know what I'm saying? I somehow managed to hit and the need and the want thing. I want to give it almost 50-50 because I'm almost never right about which one I really need to do first. So it never feels like too much of a burden because it's always switching. There's always something else kind of being like pushing it. It's weird. I know there's always something else just pushing its way into, like, it's almost like I'm indecisive about it, but I somehow manage to hit heads and tails close to every other time. You know what I'm saying? So like when I balance, it's accidentally balanced. It's like an accidental balance kind of thing. It just happens to work out for some reason.
You've just ascended so far in your meditation that these mundane human things are not even of your concern, huh?
Don't pump his head.
I wish I could say it like that.
Don't pump his head.
It can be a little stressful sometimes, but
it's worst podcast ever.
But it ends up working out. So I mean,
well, you've pretty much just stated that you have no plan. You have kind of one or two waypoints. You have you know how you want to start your day. You know how you want to end your day. Everything in between, we'll just roll the dice and let Jesus take the wheel, huh?
Like I have a plan, but I accidentally implement my plan.
Be like water. Water going cup, it becomes a cup. Water going bowl, it become like bowl.
I am a very flowy guy.
Okay, Bruce Lee.
When there is something wrong with planning, and as many people as might say, unless you typically plan with multiple backup plans, a plan locks you in one way of doing things. Meaning, if something adjusts that's out of your control, you cannot adjust. Therefore, a plan is only as good as the reality around it. Anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Sun Tzu over here.
Well, here's the thing. The plan is your baseline. It is your waypoints that guide you in the right direction and shows you what you want to accomplish. You have to have the ability to be flexible within that plan, i.e. time constraints. For example, me, I live 50 minutes away from work. So I typically tack on an hour of travel time anywhere I go. And so sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. There's various times where, for example, I'm going from where I live up north to go meet up with one of the guys to practice a routine in their gym. And then I got to drive into Dallas to meet up someone for, let's say, a training session and then go to work. And in between there, I want to sneak in tanning or whatnot. So let's say I get stuck in traffic and I'm late. Well, then I can adjust and be like, okay, I guess I'll tan tomorrow. And little things like that. Or, I keep people very informed, and I also understand when I'm planning to allot for that amount of time. Like, okay, if I'm going to BFE, I need to give myself at least an hour to get to my next appointment and accommodate that. And so I'm not, the wheels aren't coming off the wagon if I don't get my entire laundry list of things done that day. Same thing happens in a more specific place. Like, for example, if we are going to rehearse and we want to cover XYZ and we only get XY done, like, I'm okay, it's fine. We'll just get to Z next time we get together. And so you still kind of get that sense of, okay, some things were done. I was productive today. We just ran out of time. That's fine. And you move on. So I don't necessarily think having a 100% rigid plan is okay, because like you said, if you're not prepared to adjust, then it could lead to more stress when you feel like you didn't get everything done that you wanted. But the flip side is, I do feel like knowing what you want to do, instead of being like, oh, well, in your case, let's say you wanted to spend this afternoon writing a song, and it turns out you were just in the zone and you wrote the song in 2 hours, then you're like, well, I don't know what to do with the rest of my day. And then you eat up X amount of time trying to figure that out. What input you got on that, Trey? Since kind of, I'm sure, studying and test taking. You know, I mean, I'm sure colleges give you what, 4 or 5 hours to do a test, and sometimes you're done too.
Oh man. Well, it just depends. Like certain tests. Just depends. Like when we have like a final, that usually is like a long test. But usually, because I'm taking online classes, the tests are usually like an hour long online. You have to, it's usually 100, not 100, usually about like 80 questions in an hour. So I just take my time and stuff like that. But to me, the biggest thing is like when um, when like say there is something like that, I do have a test and it's quick and I get done with it a lot quicker, then it helps my day out so much more. I'll go like if like something near campus I can go do, I won't even get in my truck. I'll just walk off of campus and go take care of it real quick, come back to campus, get ready for my next class. Uh, if a class gets canceled, that's also a big time saver for me. I can come back to my apartment, work. Like one time I got a class canceled and I actually went back home and worked on choreography. And then I had that done. I didn't have to work on that for the rest of the day, and I just went home and I actually got to watch a movie that night. So it was very relaxing, very stuff like that. But the worst is like when something gets moved, like a date for like a assignment gets moved, like maybe it gets moved back, then it moves to something like how am I thinking about this? Oh, like Excel's birthday in December. I was supposed to have an essay turned in a week before it, but then the essay got moved, and I was almost done with it, but then the essay got moved because the teacher got sick. It got moved to the day before Excel's birthday party, and then so I finished it up like it was supposed to be, but I know old Trey would have just waited until that last day and he would have been completely screwed. He would have been like, "Oh, well, Excel, I'll be late for your birthday here." So stuff like that.
That's
I think
growth, man. Good
that's
job.
what you were asking, right? That's what you're asking? Am I right? Is that
Well,
what you're
yeah, we're so how important is scheduling for you? Because you're obviously very passionate about the gym, but you also have to schedule both the time you need to be at work as well as when your classes are. So, do you really value like a schedule pretty hard, or you just kind of still wing it?
Uh, I hate to say it, I wing it for the most part, but what I have noticed is when I do schedule things, it's a lot better for me. Helps me out a lot more. Definitely, definitely lines me up a little bit better. But I will also admit when I do schedule, it's not always definitive schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than of course class because that's always on a time. But say like I get done with class at 2 and like we did this podcast tonight. Well, originally we were supposed to do it at 9, but we had some problems with that. I didn't schedule it at any given time because I know how these podcasts work sometimes. Sometimes our technology doesn't work, sometimes things of that nature. So I really didn't schedule in like, okay, at 9 I'll be doing this. I scheduled in, all right, from this time till whenever I need to be free for this. That's what I did.
Yeah. One of the things I've adapted is I typically try to use my Mondays to plan out a rough draft of my scheduling for the week. And the reason why I do this is there's some things that are solidified in its place,
Right.
i.e., what times I can meet certain people because they have to work or they have free time. Obviously, going to work, touching on what Mandingo said as far as gym time goes, I'm very passionate about the gym like we all are. So I try to either make sure I can get my time in before my day starts, or sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm too busy. I'm not going to wake up in time. I'm going to go ahead and get my workout in after work. And for me, mentally knowing that I'm going to do it after work helps me. So the rest of the day, I'm not sitting there like, oh man, I got to get to the gym. I got to get to the gym. I know what's going to happen. But also
Right.
throughout the week, if I know, okay, I have to do this on Friday, this on Saturday, Sunday's a little open, I know throughout the week when I end up having to modify that, i.e., something happens, you guys are coming into town, you want me to meet you somewhere or something, I have the ability, hey, I'm Sunday, I am open, versus not really knowing what's going on till the day of. Which sometimes does happen, but I try to negate that as much as possible because many times, or I want to say more than 90% of the time, if something comes up the day of, unless it's something that supersedes present or takes precedence over everything else, I just won't have the time for it because my day has already been planned. And a lot of people that know me already because of that. When they start to schedule things, hey, I have such and such thing on this day. Okay, well, I have that on this day. or wait till Monday. And Monday I'll let you know if I'll be free, because it's normally I schedule things. And once again, it's not written in stone, but it does help me plan out my week and know when I have free time and when I don't.
Right.
For us doing this podcast and stuff like that. So, Mandingo, you touched on it a little bit. How much do you value a routine and or consistency? Like, I know you said you stay pretty fluid with things, but you do like to have a couple of things that you do consistently. So how much value do you put on those no-brainer things when it comes to your time?
Well, number one, first thing I can think of, my gym time is fairly consistent, but also fairly fluid. Consistent in the fact that I will get it done, fluid as far as when. So if I want to do Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, let's say I have 3 workouts. I want to do Monday, Tuesday. Let's say I just want to do Monday.
Hey, once you reach that level of sculpted manliness, like, you don't have to hit the gym as often.
Cesar, don't pump his head. I'm telling you right, God.
Sometimes I do 4, but I'm in there for like 2 hours. So let's say I want to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but let's say all of a sudden we have a planned rehearsal on, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and then we have a planned rehearsal on Monday, and then I have to help someone move on Tuesday. Well, I'll switch around my days and be like, okay, maybe I can do my back and bi Saturday. Friday I can do my chest and try, and then now Wednesday I would do my legs. Like, I just determined, but I would get it done. So I would say that I schedule things to make myself more efficient in knowing that I need to do them, but I don't always keep to the schedule when I am doing them. A schedule for me is more so of a reference point of what I need to do and not when. That's how I view it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I understand. You make a list of what you want to accomplish that day, just not necessarily when it needs to happen.
Yeah, but I do know before a certain time, I'm like, I would like to get this done. Just like you say with choreography, that example you made. Yeah, I mean, you don't. It's difficult to get everything. Sometimes we get a little bit, our eyes get a little bit big, and we really think we can get all this stuff done in a 12-hour period, and we just are only factoring in like doing these things and not us eating or us driving to the place we need to get to do this thing, or waiting on somebody or whatever else might actually interfere with the time. So it's not, it's a good way. Like, you have to balance your schedule in a way that you know what you got to do, but you don't want to stress yourself about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. Trey, how about you, brother? How much do you value a consistent schedule or routine?
I value it really a lot, because I feel like if I'm consistently doing something, and this is why, like, when I first stopped playing football and started going only to college, my family was actually like, "Hey, don't get a job first. Do what you gotta do." Well, I found a job as soon as I started going back to college after playing football, because I realized anytime I was idle and I didn't have something to do, I was always filling that time up with bad choices. So to me, being consistent, being doing something always keeps me more in line than if like today. Other than class, I really didn't have anything. I told myself I wasn't going to work out today because I needed an off day. So basically, after I got done with class and I studied for a bit, all I did was eat and sleep. So to me, that I lost today. I feel like today was just a wash of a day. So tomorrow I'm gonna wake up early and go do like fasted cardio and then my school and all that. But I like having consistent things, because that way I'm staying on a path, I'm staying on a line. I'm not being just screwing off, things of that nature. So I always like to have, like I said, if I need to be better about making a schedule for myself, but at the same time, I have like a bodily schedule where it's like, what are you doing? Okay, you need to be doing this right now. Okay, let's go do this. Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I like about having a routine and consistency is that I feel like it takes out unnecessary. It lowers the amount of brain power you need to use, and also increases your motivation. If you know that every morning you're gonna do, much like what Mandingo said, get on social media, knock that out. Then you're going to, while you're making lunch, plan out what your next step is going to be, or making breakfast, plan out your next step. Then go hit the gym, and then figure out, accomplish that. It kind of, you get that ball rolling. You already know it. Like, that's just the way it works. You do that every morning, and so you don't have to think about it. Much like when you hit the gym, I'm gonna hit the gym after work, so that's what it is, and it helps you. It snowballs to me. If you're consistent on a small basis, then it helps grow into consistency and productivity on a larger basis. And once you start doing certain things, like I know it takes me X amount of time to drive to this location at this time during the day. I can more accurately manage that time and make the most of it, versus other times where, oh, hey, look, I got there way early, or it took me too long to get back, and thus I have to cut into something else's time. And the more specific you can be with your time, then the more you get out of it. And that's why I kind of tend to lean a little more towards routine. Obviously, within those routines, though, certain things must fluctuate and change, because you're not meeting the same people. You're not going to, for example, I don't know about you guys, but I work at 24-hour fitness, and I have pretty much hit every 24-hour fitness in Dallas, because it just depends where I'm at, which one's closer. If I end up driving all the way up to Louisville for whatever reason, and I'm like, hey, look, there's a 24-hour right off the highway, then that's the one I'm going to work out at. Something similar to what you were doing, Mandingo, where it's like, I know I have to work out today. When exactly it happens, I don't know, but we'll play it by ear. It's kind of the same thing. If I see that target of opportunity and I can save myself travel time and knock out my workout right now because it's convenient, then I end up doing that. So the last thing we're going to discuss is long-term projects, because obviously we're talking about day-to-day stuff, but planning for a strip off, planning a travel to another city, taking some vacation time off. Trey, you have to plan for finals and labs and larger projects, or even, powerlifting competitions. Mandingo, you might want to put an entire album together, so you have to plan various songs and things like that. You also mentioned, on the reality show that you have a garden, so that's something. Hey, one of the little things like that all kind of end up being something you can't handle on the day. So how do you guys attack long-term projects with deadlines and things like that?
You want to take this first?
You might have more to say, so yeah, let me see if I'll take this. Okay. Well, especially considering now that I travel to Florida a lot, Houston, man. Well, I kind of view it the same way. There are bigger checkpoints and bigger things I need to accomplish by certain times in order to make things happen. So let's say I want to get a fairly cheap ticket. Okay, I know I need to go here 4 months from now. Okay, so let me make sure I get the ticket by this time so prices aren't crazy, number one. Let me make sure, let's say if I'm going to work, I know what act I'm doing. So I need to know if this act is going to fit in this suitcase. That is one thing, especially, I like dressing the part, and I like my backup guys dressing the part. So I typically have a lot to bring for a 3-man act. Let's just keep it at 3-man. If it's a solo, yeah, but typically I go down there and there's somebody else with me. So you got to plan for how much you're going to bring. That's another thing. You got to plan for how you're going to compensate if you forget something. Because let's just keep in mind, all of us, no matter how seasoned we think we are, have the possibility of forgetting something we just knew that we packed. You know what I'm saying?
You need that contingency plan.
Yeah. I mean, hell, what was it, like 3 times in a row you came down and visited San Antonio and we had to find something for you?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's always the most minute thing, too.
Yeah.
It's either a mask or a hat or a hand prop. You're like, oh, no, I have to do this. So, like you said, a contingency plan just in case you need to know where you're staying, how long, depending on how long you're staying, you need to know where you're staying, and those things take time. Those things take. If you really want to find the best place.
Yeah, I think I'm the worst at that. I just usually go and then look for a place after I've already gotten there.
Honestly, I just let Juice do it. I just let Juice do it. If he was
Hey,
here, which he
delegation. That's a good way of time management.
he's
That's how you
good
maximize your
at
time.
that. He's good at that.
Oh.
I'm the oldest one, but he's the dad of the group. He's the dad.
Yeah, you're
He's
the
for
mom.
sure.
Well,
He's
it's because you're the mom.
No, I'm definitely not the mom.
You're definitely the mom.
I'm the rebellious first child.
No, oh God.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
the rebellious
God.
first child. So
Blow it out your ear.
he So yeah, typically, you need to plan where you're gonna go, and like I said, I usually Juice is with me. It's something to where like him and I have to talk about it. So that's time you have to take to either meet with him and talk about it, or meet with somebody who's better at planning these sort of things, or just figure it out on your own. So that's all, including the kind of scheduling you want to have. But like we said, being able to adapt to anything that might occur. Like, let's say, example, like oh my God, I've missed a flight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've missed a flight to Florida because I left my phone in my roommate's truck and it had my ID in there. So I wasn't going to get through TSA without my ID.
Yeah, that's definitely a 100% no-go.
I could have went to Florida without my phone.
But in his defense, he had his tablet with him. He had his tablet.
Yeah, so I was able to contact my roommate to come back and get me, but I missed my flight. So they rescheduled my flight for the next day. And get this, I get there on time. I don't forget anything. I get in there, but guess what happens to me? The plane never takes off. The plane never takes off because someone flushed a diaper down the toilet and they had to dismantle the whole bathroom setup and they couldn't let us fly that far without a bathroom. So I got put on another flight. Now, think about this. I was in the airport at 9:30 and I didn't leave 9:30 a.m. and I left the airport at 7 p.m.
Oh man.
Yeah. I was there that long. So I lost a day and then I lost another day. And then they sent me, remember, I was going to Fort Lauderdale. They sent me to Long Beach, California for a connecting flight from Texas. So I flew all the way to the West Coast just to fly all the way back to Florida.
I mean, I guess they could have sent you to Alaska, but that might have been a little overdone.
Oh, that would have been awesome. Oh, that would have made the story so much better.
Y'all, I wouldn't even be here. I'll just be out there surviving off of seal blubber.
Oh, please.
Seal blubber and,
you have a little garden.
I'm competing in the Iditarod.
I've definitely been there before though, where like the connecting flight doesn't make any kind of sense as far as travel time goes, but such is life. For me, I like to make a few minor deadlines leading up to something. For example, let's say my birthday routine. I don't like doing last minute things. Every once in a while it happens and I do it and it's fine. I work fine under pressure, but I prefer not to. I like to have the last minute time frame to kind of fine tune things or do some corrections if need be. So I will be like, okay, I want to have all the costuming done by this date. And then I want to have, the music done by this date. And I want to start practicing choreography because obviously I can't dictate how long it will take for people to learn it, including myself. So I kind of leave that one a little more flexible, but this is when I want to start teaching the choreography. And hopefully, within a week or two, we'll have it down. And then it's just a matter of cleaning it up and fine tuning it. And what that does is that it relieves stress on me because I don't have to have that last minute, like I need to get this done. I need to get this done. I need to get this done. Instead, it's okay, I've got this much done. Then on to the next step, then on to the next step. And as things are getting completed, then when everyone's like, hey, do you need anything? I actually have the freedom and the ability to tell them, no, I'm actually good. Or like, yes, I need the shoes didn't work. If you can find me this kind of shoe, that would be great. And things like that. Same thing happens with all shows. Obviously, the New Year's show, I was doing an Aerial Silks duo routine. So it was the same thing with my partner. We had to schedule out X amount of practices a week to get us to the point where we needed to be. Both have the choreography done, find out what moves we can and can't do because of the height and things like that. And so having those intermittent deadlines for myself keeps me from doing too much too early and pulling away too much time from other things that have to get done. Like Trey was talking about earlier, the things that have even legitter, yeah, that's English, a more legit or shorter deadline.
Spit it
And
out.
yeah, there you go. Versus, pushing things that did not need to be pushed. So yeah, that's kind of how I maximize my time. Where I kind of, if it is a long term project that I know is going to take weeks to do, or I have weeks to accomplish it, instead of overloading myself either on the front end or the back end, I kind of space it out over time, and it lets me maintain my normal consistency and routines. Is that something like what you do, Trey?
Something like that. Like what I've seen that works the best for me when it comes to long term goals. I hate to say it, the best thing I've learned is I'll tell people. I'll tell people about it like way in advance. Like last year I did that. Last year I was going to do that powerlifting thing up in Ohio where it was like deadlifting your body weight and things of that nature. So I told people in advance. So anytime they bring it up to me, then I'd be like, okay, I need to get back on track. I need to do that. I need to do that. Or like if I have like a really hard test or essay or something, I'll tell my roommates, and then they'll be like, if they'll ask me, like I'll catch them. They'll ask me like a week or so later, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. I need to start planning for that. I need to start doing that. Another thing I do is I take sticky notes and I put them all over different places. I'll put them on like my mirror. I'll put one on like the inside of my truck, and I just do that, and that way, it's always reminding me, keeping me on track and things of that nature. And like you, I make mini goals. The like not mini goals, but like miniature objectives to hit that long term objective.
So let me
Like
ask you: when you have all these post-it notes inside your truck, do you ever roll down your windows to get some cool air in?
for a fact, you've ridden in my truck. You've seen what happens when we roll down the windows. There's a lot of stuff blowing around. That's why I've stopped doing it so much in my truck. I do it more on like mirrors at home or cupboard. The cupboard is my best, like because I'll go and reach for like oatmeal to make my breakfast, and I'll see it. But yeah,
Gotcha. Have your
that
deadlines just lost in the wind. Got it.
oh, I hate you so much.
Oh, I see why you put it in your cupboard. So when you have that powerlifting meet or a competition, you're going to reach in to grab like your zebra cakes. You're like, oh wait, that's right, and then you reach for the oatmeal. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, yeah. First off, zebra cakes are a little. I like oatmeal cream pies. Don't get it. And honey buns, oatmeal cream pie, honey buns, zebra
Yeah,
cakes.
I bet you like honey buns.
There's something there's something I forgot that we
Oh,
as
here we go.
entertainers need to accommodate for on trips, especially trips out of state. Hardware malfunctions
Ooh, that is a good
or
one.
hardware mishaps.
I was about to say, I don't think you're going into a good place with this, but yeah, hardware is.
And that's one of those things where it's like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean you need a CD instead of a flash drive for this? Or what do you mean I don't have my flash drive with my stuff on it? Or why did my charger just break? Or like that happens. There's multiple different stories from guys where they're not at their home club and all of a sudden on the fly they're like, oh God, I need this, and it's not a prop, it's electronic. It's something that's like, it's like the audio of the show, and without audio there is no show. So that is one of the devastating, like time consuming, or that's a contingency plan for that is something else that needs to be covered. I mean, it sounds like it can be solved easily. Prevention, maybe getting another piece of hardware just in case one of them malfunctions. Bringing something backed up on something else just in case you actually forgot.
Yep.
Or you
Very
haven't
true.
emailed to yourself, or there's no internet to download it off of your email, or whatever it might be. Like, that's another thing, because that takes up time at home for you to get done, and for you to get that stuff done.
It wasn't me this time.
We almost made it. Almost made it.
My bad.
It's all good.
Oh shit!
It's all good. Yeah, the like you said, 30 seconds to a minute on the front end of prep work can save you 30 minutes to an hour when it comes to
Yeah,
actual performance time. I totally understand. I normally like to have my stuff both on a flash drive and on my phone. And sometimes I do exactly what you said, Mandingo, and email myself as well. So I have it in that position
well,
where even if I can't get access to it, maybe the club might have their computer hooked up to internet and can get it from there and stuff like that, etc. So that's really good. Yeah, I agree with you.
of course, he does all three bases. He does the email, the phone, and yeah.
Hey,
So
Caesar.
I did a rap show on Friday. I did a rap show on Friday in Houston, and I emailed them my set, and I was like, you know what? Should I back this up? And I thought to myself, why wouldn't I do that? Now everything went good at the show, went well. I didn't need to go find it, but I had it in my car just in case. They're like, oh, we don't know what to do with your file. Like, it does, like, okay, it's more than likely it's not going to happen, but if it does, do you really want to take that chance?
yep, no, it's better safer than sorry for sure. But all right, gentlemen, we are creeping up there on time, so let's go ahead and call this a show. I appreciate your guys' insight to your personal lives and techniques. It was definitely insightful for me, and hopefully our listeners found it valuable as well. They could take some of these tricks of the trade and apply it to their own lifestyles. With that, let's go ahead and move on to the worst event of the week. So I normally start these off, but I think today I'll change it up and bring up the rear, if you will. So Trey, with that great look on your face, what was your worst event of the week?
The worst event of the week was because I was sick last weekend and last week. You know, I felt like when I came back to work this week, I was playing catch up. You know, missed out on a week. Whenever you miss out on a week, you're hurting for certain things. You know, so I came back to work this week and just had to get over that sick. Like I wasn't sick still, but I had to get the first night back. I had to get my cardio back. Had been a minute since I danced, even though it was only a week. It felt like longer because I was sick. Uh, so then that happened. Then of course you miss out on things that happened the week before. People are like, oh, blah 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 and stuff like that. So you gotta catch up on that bull crap and stuff like that. So for me, the biggest thing was I felt like I was playing catch up this whole week. To get back, I felt like I was, trying to do this and trying to do that. Um, and long story short, it was just basically like I didn't feel like I was back to par yet, which I reached par on Saturday, but at the same time, it was just kind of like, okay, I need to hustle, I need to do this, I need to do that. But yeah, that was my worst event of the week.
All right, yeah, I think we've all been in those shoes from time to time. Man, Nigo, what was your worst event of the week?
Well, man, I guess the best way to put this would be, I guess, negative emotional influence.
Drama.
Not necessarily drama, just dealing with dealing with the emotions of other people. That tends to take energy from what I have scheduled to do. So we're talking about scheduling. That can be very rough on your schedule because you as a person have to deal with that, and how you choose to deal with it is up to you. But everyone deals with it differently, and it takes more of a toll on some people than others. I personally believe that it takes energy to deal with it. So, but you typically, man these things out or like fight through it, and it's like still, as you said before, progress is still progress. And if you get slowed down and still make progress, you still make progress. So
Yeah.
that would be the worst, for me at least.
Yeah, gotcha. Mine was actually a little interesting, to say the least. So it was a Thursday night, I believe. I go up on my first set. Club has about 12 ladies in there. So this older lady and her mom come up to the stage, apparently. And the mom is, well into grandma age. And they come up. The daughter tips me. I talk to her for a little bit, and she goes and sits down. She's like, "Yeah, I just wanted to bring my grandma or my mom up here and kind of break her and show her a good time." I was like, "Cool." So I go up to the grandma. As I begin to dance for her, she's holding up the money, and then she's like, I think she goes to tip me. I think is what she does. I forgive me the details. She goes to tip me. So she's like, "Hey, where do you want it?" I'm like, "Well, we could just go on the hip. It's pretty safe or whatever." And then she goes and tips me, and she's like, uh, "Man, you're really dumb." And I'm just like, excuse me?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're really stupid." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Like, thanks." And she never really kind of clarified why she called me that. I was like, okay." Thanks. And so she stays there, and I'm like, well, all right. And then and then she like starts to scratch my chest, and she's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, probably my chest hair. Like I haven't shaved this week." And she's like, "Are you sure?" And like she scratches it again. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think it's anything else." And then she like looks at me, and she's like, "You're an a-hole." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "I got every other guy that came up to the stage except for you with that. Like, you're so mean." I'm like, "I am totally lost at what I should be doing right now. Like, I really don't know. Like, is this what Tourette's is? Like, oh man." So needless to say, she was up there for probably about another 30 seconds because I really had no idea how to approach the situation. And I was like, all right, well, finally, I kind of like did that whole thing where I took her arm and like turned her around manually and like choked her out a little bit with her own arm because she didn't get it. I was like, all right, well, back to your daughter you go. Have fun. But like, it was so, I'm like, I have no idea whether I made or like completely demolished this lady's day. And I have no idea how to respond to it. So that was a good way to start my night, all awkwardly and stuff.
Oh, perfect.
That
Perfect.
I'm gonna have that. That was hilarious. That's one of the funniest things I've envisioned in a male strip club. Like that is hilarious.
Yeah,
I can, I would probably start laughing when she said it. I'd have been like, "What?" I'd have been so confused myself. That's
and the thing
hilarious.
was, is she was having a great time. She had this huge smile on her face, and like her glass bottle glasses were like all like beady eyed and stuff. And like I said, she was having a great time by the expression on her face. I just have no idea what was going on here. Um,
I,
the next thing is a little more practical, but it's still slightly funny. Actually, not really. But so Saturday night, club was pumping. I wanted to do my fire. I told the runner, "Hey, get my fire poi ready." Excuse me.
oh,
So,
do we bore you? Do we bore you to death? Do we bore you to sleep?
how? I'm the one that just finished telling the story, bro. I bored myself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't,
Trey,
I don't
Trey,
know.
Trey.
Just
We've talked.
Trey, he
Like, just go back to
got
the
that.
gym, Trey. Just go back to the gym.
Got that one. You gotta give him that one. He got that one.
He did. He did.
So, so he had him prepped. No big deal. So I go out on stage. He hands them to me. I light them on fire. I go ahead and do my thing. And I start to feel my hand being like my hand gets hot. I didn't think anything of it because honestly, sometimes there's so much gasoline in the on the poi that when I first ignite it, the excess it just generates a significant flame, and thus I singe the hairs on my fingers and stuff. No big deal. So I continue to spin, and then after about another 30 seconds, I'm like, man, this is getting pretty hot. Like it's borderline painful. So
Was your hand on fire?
so I look and my hand is on fire. Yeah, great, good way to hit the punchline. Thanks, Trey.
Yeah, he's just gonna.
There's
I
no
knew.
filter. Like there's
We
just a
all
kind
knew
of there's
what he
like
was
a
gonna say.
straight beeline from his brain to his
We
mouth,
all
and it
knew
just
what
comes
he
out.
was gonna say, but no one else said it.
You never know. Like he could have said something like the chain was on fire, but I knew it was his hand. I was like,
Yeah, we all knew it was his hand.
So
God.
I end up. It's pretty funny because I was trying to like figure out what to do. So I ended up just throwing the poi that had my hand on fire on the ground and continued to spin poi with just one. And I was like, you know what, this is kind of dumb. And like half these moves look better with two. So I put it down, asked the runner like, hey, give me the rag. Went down and I put the handle out. And then I continued the show. When I got off stage, I'm like, hey, what happened? The handle was literally on fire. He's like, oh yeah, man, I'm so sorry. Like when I was putting the fuel on it, it accidentally fell. Some of the fuel got on the handle. I was like,
oh
I'm
God.
like, look, dude, like I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand accidents happen, but what made you think that you didn't need to tell me this? Like I am literally about to do fire on stage in front of a bunch of people, and you're not going to tell me that my handle is doused in gasoline? And he's like,
Yeah,
oh, well, I took it to the sink and tried to wash it off. I was like,
uh,
bro,
it's not
gas
how it
does
works.
not mix with water. Like, so needless to say, I mean, not as funny. And I got a pretty good second degree burn from it, but such is life. I mean, you play
Oh,
with fire, you're gonna get burnt. The only thing that bugged me a little bit, not gonna lie, is the fact that
he,
it wasn't my doing. Like, I totally understand if I burned myself, but this time, like, it was because of someone else's doing. But hey, such is life. I had a fun time at rope class this weekend because I kept bursting open the scabs because I was cinching my fist.
I'd be furious. I'd be furious.
Meh, what's
well,
done is done, man. He didn't do it on purpose, somewhat. So it is. But anyways, let's go ahead and flip the coin. My best event of the week. So I have a lot of friends that come see me at the club. It's a great time. I really enjoy spending time with them. They improve my night. I improve theirs. It's great. So there is this joke. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it is a quick, like 15-second cartoon. You guys could check it out after the show, where a son goes up to the dad and he's like, "Hey, dad, a girl just texted me." And the dad, without looking away from his newspaper, tells the son, "Hey, um, how many?" Or no, a girl just texted me, "Hey," and the dad's like, "All right, son, like how many Y's did she type?" And the
uh,
guy's like, "Three." And then the dad continues to say something that is extremely hilarious, and I'll let you guys check it out later. So I've told this joke to several people because I think it's absolutely great. So needless to say, this we another girl we got into a conversation with, and it was like there's also a meme out there that shows you what hey means with one Y, with two Y's, with three, with four, with five, etc., etc. And the highest one says it's because the button got stuck and it just typed out like eight Y's or whatever. So we're in VIP, we're chatting, we're having a good old time, and she said something that was like, "Well, how many Y's have I text you or whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh, yours was definitely the gut, like your finger got stuck on the button." Mind you, like obviously we're playing around because she has like an iPhone or whatever. But she's like, "Well, how do you know that?" And uh, I told, oh man, I guess I can't tell this joke the right direction. Anyways, so I told her it's because I've seen you play arcade games, and she just started bawling because I have gone to an arcade with her, and she is a button smasher. And I guess I should
oh,
have probably started the joke off with this. So told the punchline, I'll take the hit. There you go, Trey. There's your revenge right there. I did it to myself yet again. But she's one of those people that literally just like smashes on the buttons with the palm of her hand to see what happens. Jesus take the joystick type thing. And so I was able to do that punchline in VIP, and we were both cackling. It was a great time. Definitely one of the highlights of my week. Trey, what was your highlight of the week?
okay. So my highlight of the week was Saturday night. So like all the week I felt a little stressed. I felt a little trying to play catch up because I had been sick the week before. Well, Saturday comes around. I feel like I'm finally in stride. I'm having fun no matter what. We're having a pretty good night at the club. I got to pick on Dingo because he had been gone for the last few days. So I was picking on him, doing stuff like that. All of a sudden, like, I've been kind of questioning doing something different with my look and stuff and appearance. And a lady comes up to me, and a lady I had never met. I guarantee you, she's not gonna become a regular or anything. She was there for a birthday party, and she comes up to me and she basically says, "Don't change a thing with your looks," or well, what I'm trying like because I've been thinking about doing something different with my body, but she told me not to change anything and that I'm beautiful, and that made my day. That made my day. That made my week. So that was a good moment. It's always nice to be complimented.
Hell
Always
yeah.
nice.
Hey, the smallest gestures of kindness can make a huge impact on somebody. So right on, man. That's awesome. Mandingo, what's your best event of the week, man?
I was reminded what the peak of entertaining can feel like. Um, as I've mentioned before, you're not always the flavor of the night or
Well,
the
you're
week
not a flavor that anyone wants
or the
to.
month. No, I'm very bitter.
Yeah,
A very bitter flavor.
you're like
But I'm
bitter
good for
cola.
you.
You're like bitter
But
cola.
I'm good for you. Shh, you're not supposed to know. So like, typically as an entertainer, we've all felt what it's like to have half the people in the room like you and the other half not even bat an eye towards you, or whatever ratio, or none. Like there are people who just don't, they don't like you for whatever reason. And that comes with the job, and you know that. especially after doing it for so many years. But there's always those moments where everyone is just, it's not that they're just there for you, but everyone in the room, or at least most of the people in the room, are enjoying what you're doing, and they're showing it by being up there. And they're actually tipping you, and they're actually enjoying themselves. Like, it's not just like, oh, I'm up here because my girl was like, hey, you should go up there. Or I'm up here because, well, for whatever, I'm just drunk. Like, no, it was just like, we're here enjoying ourselves. Wow, look at this guy. We really all like this guy, and we're all going to come up to the stage from multiple tables and be around his stage. And before I even started to take my clothes off, before I even started to do that, I had a packed stage, and I was paying attention to how much it boosts the atmosphere of my performance when it's like that. It's just a different kind of energy you feel, like, versus having to, have those moments where you pump up the crowd consciously because they might need it, versus them just going with what you're doing and you not even having to give too much more energy and just running off the energy that they're giving you.
It's like a drug.
Those nights are nights that any entertainer lives for, and I just experienced one of those recently. So that would be the best. That would be the best of my week.
Oh yeah, you're definitely flying on cloud nine when you have that feeling of that you just rocked the crowd and they give you that energy back. And I mean, yeah, you're just king of the world, and it makes you, like you said, it reminds you how great this job could be, and those are some of the high points. So that's great, man. I'm really glad you were able to experience that. All right, gentlemen, I think we're gonna call that a show. Once again, I really appreciate having you guys on. Real quick, let's finish up with some stuff. If you listeners haven't tuned in yet, definitely check out my reality show that is on YouTube under Cesar LeBear. Both my guest co-hosts are entertainers and contestants on the show, Tre Vaughn and Mandingo Jones. They did phenomenal to bring up routines episode after episode. So definitely check out their hard work amongst the other 10 contestants that were on the show. Next is patrons. Once again, thank you guys so much for all the support. All this is because of you, so thank you. It means so much to me as well as all my guest entertainers. For me, we have my birthday bash, February 16th and 17th, coming up in less than 2 weeks. It is Fire and Ice themed, so dress in red or dress in blue. Bring your fanciest outfits and designs and come out and celebrate a great time. My mom will be in town, possibly my brother. I'll have Tre Vaughn coming in from San Antonio. It's going to be a blast, so definitely check it out.
I'll be there Saturday and Sunday. Come on, kick it with me, buddy.
Boom, there you go. See? Boom goes the dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite.
And then we'll have XL's Stripper Wars in San Antonio, Sunday, March 25th. This is going to be a head-to-head competition where entertainers were going to go battle it one-on-one against each other. And lucky for us, I'm actually competing with one of my co-hosts, which is Mandingo Jones. Mind you, I use the term competing very loosely because I'm pretty sure he will crush me.
He's just trying to lull me into a false sense of security. I know his game. He's just trying to lull me into a false sense of security.
At least
obviously, this is going to be...
At least y'all have competition with each other. The guy I'm going against didn't even show up last time, so he probably won't show up again.
It's an intimidation factor.
It's going to be a slobber knocker, guys.
Slobber knocker.
A good old-fashioned slobber knocker.
A rumble in the jungle.
There we go. A rumble in the jungle.
Beast versus a barbarian.
Let's give them what they want.
I mean, anyone that's seen the reality show understands what you're bringing to the table, bro. And I mean,
let's just do Holy
Diver. Let's do what?
Holy Diver.
Yeah, there you go. See, you throw Holy Diver in there, man. People loved it down here when you did it. You did it for New Year's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I heard like multiple compliments about how good you performed it, both on the show and on New Year's. So. See, I mean, you're just a phenomenal entertainer, bro.
Oh, God. Your ego is blowing up.
No.
You're good,
you gotta...
I'm going to have to push you down the stairs this week or something.
Look, man, I'm glad that this action, it was going to happen at some point. We were going to have to face off like head to head at some point. We've competed in strip-offs, but there's a difference between competing against 10 people versus competing, 1-on-1. You know what I'm saying? And this is where a lot of tests as a entertainer can really be kind of like ironed out, I guess. Mm-hmm. I'm sure what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I'm looking forward to competing against you. There isn't really, there's no doubt in my mind that you're gonna bring, you're gonna bring it. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, whatever act you bring, can I be in it so we can beat him together?
Yeah, I think we can make that happen. I gotta do something. He's got hometown advantage. He's got all kinds of lights and doohickeys and doodads, and he's probably gonna sing a song.
Oh no, he's not that talented.
Damn. Tell us how you really feel.
He's turning on the man that fathered his career, by the way.
That's true.
I'm the reason.
Dingo did find me. This is without Dingo there would be no Tre Vaughn.
It's true. He's part of my lineage.
It's true.
See, and look, Tre, you're a great entertainer as well. So bam, look at that.
Oh God. I was trying to pump my head up. Little does he know it doesn't work.
It's that false sense of security, man.
You know what? He's gonna challenge. He's gonna call me out and challenge me on something next. That's what it's gonna be.
And beat you with poi alone.
Poi alone, yeah. No, he's gonna do poi and like Conan just to rub salt in the wound.
You're in Conan.
I know, but I still like Conan.
I just kick him off the stage halfway through the act.
Yeah,
there it is. That would be a true
as a symbol of your victory.
Yeah. Hey Tre, at this point you're gonna bend over and pick up this. This I'm gonna have a prop right here. I'm gonna need you to pick it up and hand it to me. All right?
And he's gonna kick me off the stage.
Your spine. Your spine.
All right, cool. Tre, how can people reach you on social media, brother?
Man, to reach me, it's Moonlight Muscle at Instagram, and on Facebook it's Tre parentheses Moonlight Vaughn, and that's the only social media I have at the moment. But
cool.
ladies,
good enough. Short, sweet.
February, this month, end of the month is Juice's birthday as well, so come check that out.
Oh, no kidding! Right on, man.
Yeah, it's the week after yours.
Oh yeah, I knew that. That's right. Him and I planned it that way. Well, I think I've been down there was it last year's or the year before last? I can't remember now. I was down there for one of them.
Were you? It had to be the year before last.
They were both awesome, though.
Yeah, they both were good nights.
Yeah, he throws down for sure. Like, you guys got it on point down there, without a doubt. Like, I think every event I've gone to has just been absolutely stellar down there. You guys, between marketing and the crowd and just the shows, have really put it together. So I'm really proud of all you guys. You guys threw down.
You. Appreciate you.
Mandingo, how can people reach you, man?
Instagram, Heaney Train. That's one word. So HENE, and then the word train. And that's how you find me on Instagram and on Snapchat if need be. Heaney Train. Twitter, it's Heaney Train, except the second E in the Heaney is a 3.
All kinds of codes and ciphers to try to find people. Jeez.
So it's the HEN3 train, and that's one word.
Do you see why I hate him?
Yeah, it's the son's pen to rebel against the father.
Oh, jeez. This just escalated. Cool. Well, people, you can find me at Cesar Collazo, COLLAZO on Facebook. On Twitter and Instagram, I am CesarLebear7. And you can find all things Cesar at CesarTheCrowdPleaser.com. Has everything, including links to the reality show, this podcast, and all the other great things I do, both inside the club and outside the club. And if you want to see my routines and stuff like that, definitely check out my Patreon. All right, everyone. Guys, thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate the time, especially us discussing time management. Your insight is very useful and appreciative. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. So thanks for being on the show.
Already, no problem.
Already.
All right, until next time, keep bringing the rain.
You can binge watch like Game of Thrones. Reserve your judgments, don't throw no stones. Who's and I scream as loud as you go. Airplane mode on tablets and phones. Caesar's crowd pleasers is now on. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us.